Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be
Yeah.
tackling a book that, well, it's definitely unique.
Unique is one way to put it, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's one of those that you hear the premise and you're like, wait, what?
Right,
So
yeah.
we're talking about Marian Engel's Bever.
Yeah.
Have you read this one?
I have, and it's one of those books that it sticks with you. It really does.
Yeah, and it's been sparking debate since it came out in the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Back in '76, it won a pretty prestigious award, too, the Governor General's Literary Award in Canada.
Wow, so it's not just like a sensationalist book or anything.
No, not at all. It's very well written, and it really explores some complex themes.
So let's get into it for those who haven't read it. The basic setup is we have Lou,
Yeah, Lou's our librarian.
right? She's a quiet librarian, and she's sent to this remote island to catalog a deceased colonel's belongings.
In a big old mansion.
Right. She finds a bear
Chained up.
chained up in a cabin.
Yeah.
So you're already like, okay, this is a little strange.
A little bit, yeah.
But then it takes this turn that I think is what makes people either fascinated by it or completely turned off by it.
Yeah, you could say that.
Lou's fascination with the bear, it kind of develops into something more.
Yeah, a lot more.
And it's not just like a friendship.
It's a physical relationship.
Yeah, so how do we even begin to unpack that?
Well, I think the first thing is to think about the setting the island.
Right, because it's not just a random location.
No, it's very deliberately chosen by Engel. I think the island represents this kind of separation from society.
Like a microcosm.
Exactly. Lou's cut off from all the normal rules and expectations, and that allows her to explore these desires that she might never have confronted otherwise.
And it's interesting, too, because she's a librarian.
Right. She's surrounded by order and knowledge, and then she's thrust into this completely wild, untamed environment.
Yeah, it's like her internal world is mirroring the external world in a way.
Absolutely. And that's where the bear comes into. The bear is this symbol of raw, primal energy.
The untamed,
Exactly. And it's both alluring and terrifying at the same time.
just like her feelings, I imagine.
Right. And the way Engel writes about it, too, there's this dream-like quality to the whole novel.
Like you're never sure what's real and what's symbolic.
It's almost like a fever dream, You're just swept along with it.
And I think that adds to the unsettling feeling that a lot of readers have.
Definitely. It makes you question everything.
Now you can't talk about bear without addressing the elephant in the room, or rather the bear in the room.
I was waiting for that one.
The physical relationship between Lou and the bear, I mean, that's what a lot of people focus on. And for good reason, I think it's meant to be provocative.
It definitely is. Engel is challenging our notions of what's acceptable, what's normal.
But is there a deeper meaning there beyond the shock value?
I think so. I think it's about Lou's need for connection, for something real and raw in her life.
Which she's not finding in the human world.
Right. And the bear represents this kind of pure, unadulterated form of connection.
But of course, it's also problematic because it's an animal.
Of course it is. And I think Engel is aware of that. She's not condoning bestiality, but she's using this extreme scenario to explore these deeper questions about desire and loneliness and what it means to be human.
And it's interesting how she doesn't shy away from the physicality of it.
No, she describes it in very sensory detail. And that's part of what makes it so unsettling.
Because it forces you to confront it head on.
Right. You can't just gloss over it. You have to deal with it.
And I think that's a testament to her writing. I mean, it would be easy to make this kind of story exploitative.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. It feels more like an exploration.
It's very introspective. Lou is constantly analyzing her own feelings and motivations.
So it's not just about the shock value. It's about her journey of self-discovery.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes it resonate with people even today.
Now, the book was published in 1976 during a time of huge social upheaval, particularly for women.
Right. The feminist movement was in full swing.
Do you see any connections between the book and the feminist movement?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of critics view Bear as a feminist allegory.
I can see that.
Lou's relationship with the bear can be seen as a rejection of traditional societal expectations for women.
Right, she's breaking free from the constraints of patriarchy.
Exactly. And she's embracing her own desires on her own terms.
Which is something that a lot of women were fighting for at the time.
Right. And still are in many ways.
So in a way, Bear is both a product of its time and a timeless story.
Yeah, it speaks to these universal human experiences of desire and loneliness and the need for connection.
But it does so in a very unique and challenging way.
That's for sure.
I'm curious what you think about the ending of the book, because I found it to be quite ambiguous.
Yeah, it's definitely open to interpretation.
Does Lou ultimately find peace, or is she left more broken by her experience?
That's a good question, and I think it depends on how you read it.
I was left with a sense of unease, like I wasn't sure if she was better off for having gone through all of this.
Yeah, I can see that, but on the other hand, you could also argue that she's finally free from the expectations of society.
Right, she's found her own way in the world, even if it's an unconventional one.
And maybe that's the point, that there is no right or wrong answer.
That it's up to the reader to decide.
Exactly. Bear is the kind of book that stays with you, and you keep thinking about it long after you've finished it.
So to our listeners, if you're up for a challenge, a book that will make you think and feel and question everything,
And maybe even feel a little uncomfortable.
then definitely check out Bear by Marian Engel. It's not an easy read,
That it's a rewarding one.
and it will definitely give you something to talk about.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So dive in and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your interpretations of this truly unique and thought-provoking novel.
Absolutely join the conversation.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, happy reading.
Yeah, happy reading. Bye.
Bye.